I see a lot of dog owners who think that an e-collar is gonna fix their dog's reactivity, their leash pulling, their unreliable recall, but what they don't understand is that there are 5 things you need to do before using an e-collar, and if you don't do these 5 things, there's a very high probability that you, as a novice dog handler, not only aren't gonna fix those problems, but you accidentally make everything worse. And so in this video, we're gonna cover the 5 things that you need to do before you use an e-collar on your dog. So number 1, learn how to use a leash. All right, before you move on to a tool like an e-collar, you've got to learn how to use the leash first. I remember before I knew anything about dogs or dog training, I thought a leash was something you use to prevent the dog from running away. That's what I thought it was. That is like the most rudimentary, caveman level use of a leash, all right? But that's what I thought it was. But once I started getting more into dog training, I started learning more about it, I was like, oh, the leash is actually what you use to talk to the dog non-verbally. Remember, dogs are non-verbal communicators, and the leash is what you use to communicate with them physically. The leash is what you use to talk to them, to tell them, hey, I want you to do this. Hey, I want you to keep doing that. Hey, I want you to stop doing that. And so the very first step for you, and for each one of these things, I'm gonna have action items. The very first thing that you need to do is teach your dog how to walk on a loose leash. The reason why this is one of the first things I have all of my clients do is because once you do this, it unlocks the next level of the tool. You go from using it in that very crude, just like prevent the dog from running away because they're pulling on you the whole time, to now, once you've got this, now it opens up the next level. Now you can start reinforcing behaviors, you can start punishing behaviors, you can start modifying your dog's behavior and talking to your dog for the first time ever physically. The other reason why it's important for you to learn how to use a leash is because once you start introducing the e-collar, you're gonna be using the leash as you introduce it to them. Because the leash, it makes sense to the dog. Like you're making pressure and there's direction associated with it. And it's clear that it's coming from you. The problem with the e-collar is that it's pressure, but there's no direction. It's just pressure. Like, where is this coming from, you see? And so the leash is what you use to bridge the gap in the dog's understanding. So that's the first thing I want you to do. And this is very easy. I'll have a video linked down below, but you can do this in 15 minutes. It's not hard at all. Number 2, you need to teach the basic behaviors, all right? For me, the basic behaviors: sit, down, come, place, heel. Your dog should know how to do that on a leash, okay? The reason why this is so critical is because in order for that to be true, if you were the type of person who could teach your dog all of those basic behaviors, this means you also know how to teach behaviors, how to teach verbal cues, you understand classical conditioning, you know how to motivate your dog, you know how to reward your dog, you understand the importance of markers and timing, you know how to negatively reinforce behavior. You see, there are so many skills that you acquire just by teaching the basic behaviors. You understand? If you don't know how to teach those basic behaviors on a leash because you lack those fundamental skills, an e-collar is not going to help you. It's going to confuse you, and it's going to confuse your dog too. You understand? This is kind of like the big theme of the video, is the e-collar doesn't train your dog. Training trains the dog. And in order for you to learn how to train, you've got to acquire the basic skills. So that's why we start on the fundamentals first. So the action item here is teach your dog how to sit, down, come, stay, place, and heel on a leash and a prong collar. The prong collar, by the way, is the tool I use for the vast majority of dogs. Like, there's few exceptions where I won't use a prong collar. Generally, I'll start out with that with every dog. What people don't understand about it is that you can modulate it. Like, you can make very, very low levels of pressure, or you can make very, very high levels of pressure. So it's got a lot of leverage, right? And you, as a handler, need to learn how to modulate that appropriately. When you move on to a tool like this, an e-collar, and it's just a number on a screen, this is where everybody gets tripped up. They're just looking at the numbers like, oh, you know, I'm at a 25. The mistake people make when they skip this step is they're just focused on the numbers instead of the behavioral response of the dog, which is the thing that actually matters. And so that's why I like having people start out on the leash and a prong, because they get to feel physically how their dog responds to pressure. And that's very important before they move on to that. Number 3, the third thing you should do is wait until your dog is over 6 months old. When I first got Orbit, my border collie, as a puppy, for the first 6 months, I was doing only positive reinforcement, force-free training. That's just what I thought I should do. I didn't know anything at the time. It wasn't until he was 7 months old and he was reactive and out of control that I switched gears into balance training. But for the first 6 months, that's all I was doing. And I'll tell you what, I don't regret it. The reason I don't regret it is because at the time, I had no skills. I had no idea what I was doing. If I jumped to starting to use just using aversives in training, I would have completely fucked it up. And so if you've got a puppy under 6 months old, you've got an infinite number of things that you could do today. And introducing them to the e-collar is probably not the highest leverage thing you could do right now. There's probably other things that would be more worthwhile for the time invested, you see? And so the key in the beginning, just for the first 6 months, just focus on the fundamentals, just the basics. Teach your puppy that learning is fun, that working with you is fun. Practice the basic stuff. Practice the core mechanics. Practice, get some good structure inside the house, crate train them. Teach them how to play fetch. Teach them how to bring the ball back to you. Teach them how to play tug and how to let go of the toy when you tell them to. Teach them the basic obedience. Teach them that the world is a really cool place. Put them on a flexi leash. Go to the new park. Go to the beach. Go rent a pool and teach them how to swim. You see what I mean? Like, just get out and do stuff with them. People get messed up here because they've got like a 3.5-month-old puppy and they're like, I want to use the e-collar to make him do these things. And it's like, you're sabotaging yourself because you have no idea what you're doing and your puppy is a puppy. You see what I mean? And you're just going to create conflict. It's just like you versus the dog. That is not the way to build the relationship. It's important to remember, if you've got a puppy, you can make the obedience at any time. At any time. But you never get those first 6 months back. And so focus those 6 months on just building the fundamentals. And once you introduce the tools or whatever, you'll see it. It's so easy to make the control once you have a foundation there. And just to be clear, guys, this is just a general rule for your average owner. I'm not saying you can't start sooner or later. Like, you definitely can, all right? Just for the average owner who doesn't know anything, just getting started, focus on the fundamentals, then introduce those tools once your dog is like 5-6 months old. Number 4, invest in a high quality e-collar, all right? So people don't realize it, but there's a range of quality when it comes to e-collars. Don't get like some $60 one off Amazon. I'll tell you the ones that I recommend. If you've got a sensitive dog or a small dog, I use the ME300, all right? If you've got an average dog, average, medium, large size dog, my favorite collar is the ET300. Or if you want a more low profile one, and more aesthetically pleasing, maybe you live in a country where it's illegal, then I like the Dogtra Arc X or the Martin Systems Chameleon 4, all right? So that's for the average, medium, large size dogs. And then if you've got a very physically resilient dog, then I like using the ET800 or the Dogtra 1900X. All right, so those are my recommendations. Number 5, the last thing you need to do before you use an e-collar is have a plan, all right? Hopefully at this point in the video, you understand that e-collar training is not as simple as just zapping the dog when they don't listen, right? If it was that simple, everybody would have trained dogs and I wouldn't have to be making these videos. So have a plan, hire a trainer, buy a program, buy a course, buy a book, something. Have some type of plan going into it. Don't be one of these people who just goes in willy-nilly clicking buttons because your dog pays the price for your arrogance. That's it. Those are the 5 things you need to do before using an e-collar. And if you want to know how I use e-collars in my training system to take dogs from being reactive and out of control to fully off-leash trained, go ahead and check this video out up next where I walk you through the entire process.